How's it going, guys? A friend of mine asked me to make a video of my method for cleaning wheels, so that's what I'm going to do here today. Basically, there's two methods I use for cleaning the wheels. One is with the wheel still on the car, and the other is to remove the wheel, and I'll show you both here as we go along. Jacks in place. First of all, you need a low profile jack for this car, and secondly, before we jack up the wheel, I'm going to go ahead and break the 150 pound-foot torque on the nuts, because I am going to at some point remove the wheel here. So first step, I'm going to get my breaker bar, and I use these plastic coated sockets, which I got from Suntech, and that's to prevent the scratching in here. Some of you may use an impact wrench. That's cool, whatever works for you. I prefer to do it by hand. So okay, just get it broken a little bit, just so it's easier to do later. Now that I have the lugs loosened a bit, we're going to go ahead and jack up the wheel. Just enough clearance so this can drag under here. Doesn't need to be any more than that. So I like to use a shop light so I can really see what I'm doing. And if you get down here, you can see a ton of brake dust. See that? Lots of it. By the way, my wheels are ceramic coated, which I highly recommend. The first thing I like to do is brush that off with an air compressor. So I like to get as much of this brake dust off with a soft bristle paintbrush and air compressor as I can. And the reason being, you can go ahead and clean this with a solution, but it's these corners right in here that the paintbrush really gets to. Now to get inside these crevices here, this is a lug nut brush. Alright, now we're at the stage where we can make a choice whether we remove the wheel or not. And if you were not going to remove the wheel and just do a quick cleaning and never loosen the lug nuts, at this point I would move on to cleaning the rims with a waterless wash, and do it while the wheel is still up so you can rotate using the shop light and getting in there good. But I am going to remove the wheel for a full cleaning. Now at this point, I like to use latex gloves to protect my hands. Go ahead and pull off the wheel carefully. And the first thing I like to do before doing anything else, so I don't forget, is I like to check the wheel and check the tire and make sure there's no nails or screws or anything. And just do a full spin. This one looks good. Good to go. All right. going to set the wheel aside for the moment, and the first thing I'm going to do is go after all the brake dust. I use a waterless wash, a 3D waterless car wash, and I have microfiber towels here that are dedicated just for the wheels. I use definitely a better quality one on the paint surface, but for the wheels, these are dedicated to the wheels. So here I like to, first thing, clean inside of here. All right. Clean up under the wheel wells. This may be overkill for most people, but since my car never sees water, rain or car wash or otherwise, I like to keep it as clean in the undercarriage as possible. Then next, clean the caliper. Just a little bit of hit. Be sure and protect your rotor. Here I'm using a different towel than I was using for the undercarriage. Okay, I like to clean the nuts as well. Give them a little blast, then pick them up. Set those aside. Now we're going to go after the wheel. I like to start on the back side, hit it with a little bit of just a quick hit with the air compressor. Now spray it down with the waterless wash. Got something stubborn here. Okay, now that the inside of the wheel is clean, next I'm going to do where the lugs go. Spray in here. Using a different towel now, fresh one. It's a good time to get these little notches in here. One reason why you want to get all of it is because if you leave it and it gets wet later and it sits, it could corrode. Just keep cleaning it. Alright, that's real nice. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and put the wheel back on. Lining this up is always fun. There it is. Put your lugs on. Right now with the wheels up, I'm going to do a hand tighten. Give it a little yank, make sure everything's seated, and we'll torque it to specs in a bit. Now we're on to cleaning the rim. Fresh towel. And again, I'm using the waterless wash here. You want to use your shop light so you can see what you're doing. If you want, you can use the valve stem as a starting point. That way you know that you've gone all the way around. And then right in here I can see the dirt. I want to get to that, so I'm going to hit that corner and really get in there. Get it all. Try and get those crevices. And there you have it. Wheel is nice and clean. Next step, if wanted, would be to put a little dressing on the tire. First thing that I'm going to do is wipe down the dirt, take off any dirt off the tire. Obviously way easier to do with the wheel suspended, so you can rotate. Next step, get the tire dressing. So I use Q2 tire for my tire dressing. Just put a little bit on this pad and then start to apply. After applying a fine film of the gel, I like to take an old towel and then wipe, just to take so there isn't too much excess on there. All right, we are ready to drop the wheel. And the final step in this process is to torque down the nuts to 150 foot-pounds, which is to Ford specs. There's been some discussion on the forum about you don't really need that much, but the engineers made it that way for a reason, so I'm going to stick with it. And there you go. She's gorgeous.